Okay, for more RV maintenance, I have these door jamb things that hold my door open, and mine have rusted out really badly. I cannot find a replacement part of that size, or of that bend, so I had to buy a new, oh actually what I'm going to do is, I took them off, I'm going to sand them down and repaint them. This right here is the other part that goes here in the door. When you open the door, it'll catch on that jamb thing, but the rubber insert is worn out on it. So I was able to buy that and replace that. So that's no big deal. Unfortunately, I don't like the hole it left under the door when I took it off. So I think I'm going to get some Externabond patching tape and put it over that, maybe fill in that hole with some caulk or something, or maybe a butyl rubber tape, and then put the Externabond on top of that. I think that's what I'll probably do. Cut it to size. So I will show you the finished product when it's done. And these are the door jamb things. You can, one of them I already started to sand on. This one you can see a little bit of a difference on the base itself. This one I've not started yet. And I'm using my Black & Decker sander Minnie Mouse thing with this type of pad on it. Okay, I just did that as an example to show you how the Black & Decker sander works. Not too bad, but I'm going to turn off the camera and hold this the object in my hand and sand it off properly. Then I'll show you the finished product when I'm done. Okay, I switched my tip over to a regular sandpaper grit type surface. The other one was just cleaning it off, but it wasn't getting down to where I needed it to. You can see the difference. So I'm going to keep on working on it. Just wanted to show you the difference. Okay, and here's the difference. This one was sanded down with a sandpaper. I don't know what grit it is. But it did the job. It got all the rust off. So, and this was a finger piece that I used to get around the tiny edges that the sander couldn't reach. So there's the difference between this one and the one that still needs to be done. And then when I get them both done, then I will prime them and paint them. You know, there's one piece of equipment that helped, and I didn't think to use it until the last minute when I had the really detailed work, was my Dremel. Probably could have used the Dremel all along and made it a bit easier. So anyhow, at least it's done. This is what they look like, all roughened up and ready to paint. Okay, here's the door holder things, all sanded down, cleaned up. Here's my primer I'm going to use, and I will just spray it on them, let it dry, and then spray paint them. Okay, we'll let that dry, and then I'll come back and check on them. Okay, so yesterday I had the wrong kind of paint. I had the right kind of primer, so at least they're primed. But I had to go back today and get the right kind of paint because what I got was indoor. And it's not the shiny silver stuff because I guess it's only for indoor purposes, but this will still do. So we'll go ahead and give it a coat. I'm going to coat the bottoms first. And I'm not really too concerned with the bottoms of how they look because they're going to go against the wall anyhow. I'm going to go ahead and flip them up and go ahead and paint them. Kind of like them in white, but the black plastic would just rub black marks all over them anyhow, so that wouldn't work. There. Oops. Didn't get on the lens. Okay, now they're painted, and I'll let that dry, and I'll give it a second coat, and then let them dry about 48 hours before I install them. And on the door where I took these things off, they left holes in the door. The little rubber thing just poked right through the fiberglass and eventually broke it down and poked holes. So I just laid a glob of caulk, clear silicone caulk in there, and since I can't put this stuff back up on the door for 48 hours, that'll give it some time to dry. And I'm going to use some roof flashing or something to use behind this thing to help prevent that from doing any further damage, because it kind of sticks out a little bit past the metal. So thought maybe I could put a piece of flashing or something behind that to protect it as a preventative purpose. Okay, for these things that go on my entry door of my RV, I found some scrap flashing. So I used this as a template, put it over the flashing, and drew around it and cut it out. So I think that'll work out just fine. I'll just trim it down a little bit more so it looks better and neater. And I think that'll work just fine. Okay, so I opened up the new package of my entry door holders. They're all pretty, shiny, silver, really good looking. And then there's my old one that's dull and dingy and not so good looking. And I had planned on using the new ones. However, now that these are painted gray rather than silver, I think I will go ahead and spray paint the old one to match the entry door holder thing here. And I think that'll look better. So I will give that a try. Okay, here's what they look like spray painted. I think they look pretty good. My little backer things to go behind them. And the other door closure things. So it's going to look nice. Okay, I'm ready to install my rubber door, my entry door holder things. So here are the holders that I spray painted. This one goes on the door. This goes on the wall behind the door. These I made to keep the rubber things the way they're made. Mine just went right smack through the door, so I made these to back them up and this to go over. You know, I nailed holes through there for the screws to go through. So these will go right on over the door. I will put caulk in the screw holes, and I will put this rubber butyl tape underneath it all. Okay, so now I put the rubber butyl tape behind everything. I was told that the flashing I used to back up these with might rust, even though I primed them and painted them. I just wanted to make sure that they weren't going to rust on top of the RV, so I just went ahead and covered the whole entire back of them. These are pretty hollow, so I just did where the screws go in. The nail holes right here and up here, I will put caulk into them, and then I will go ahead and screw in the door holder brackets. The holes there I filled in with caulk that the old brackets put holes in my door, but they should be fine. It'll be all hidden, and I've protected it with a good layer of caulk. Over here is where I will put the other brackets, and I will also fill in those holes with caulk. Another tip from me is I don't use, this is clear silicone caulk, and I don't do projects every day, and I hate to waste an entire tube of caulk just to do a small project. So what I generally do is just after I use it, I release it, I wipe off the tip, and I have put cellophane wrap and duct tape and a rubber band around that, and I just slide it over the tube, and then I'll tighten it down, and it'll be usable the next time I need it. Alrighty, new door holders installed, painted, backed up with rubber butane tape and caulk. Same with the bottom one. And I even put the rubber things the right direction. So we shall see if this works. I will open the door. And in it goes. And voila. Alright. And now my door hopefully will stay open better. Before I had to bungee it to my mirror. So this is a much better alternative. I think I'm going to be real happy with the job I did. So, there you go. That's it for installing door brackets. Of course, most people would do it the easy way. Most people wouldn't have to go through all the different things I had to do, but I'm all for recycling when I can. And I will keep the the new parts that I bought to use later if anything should happen to these. I'll just keep them as spares. See you later.